Okay, good morning, everyone. We'll get started. Don't forget to mute the ringers on anything you have that makes noise. And if you have any paperwork for us, please give it to Mr. Curran. We'll begin with the invocation, followed by the pledge. Commissioners Werfel and Majerick, if you wish to join us, please rise.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin the county business before us. Help us engage in meaningful discussions and allow us to appreciate differing opinions. Allow us understanding and support of all decisions made today, as it is with your guidance of our thoughts that they are made. I pray for each person in this room and within our community. May we grow closer in this time of great divide. May you be our guiding light. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please repeat after me, and the flag's in the front. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Bell,
Here.
Curran,
Here.
Freeling,
Present.
Harrison,
Here.
Hinkleman, Majerick,
Here.
Martin,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Ballraff,
Here.
Werfel,
Here.
Yarborough, Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. Minutes from last week, any changes?
So moved.
Moved by Scott, supported by Bell. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, communications.
Yes, you received communications from Sheboygan County Board of Commissioners, a resolution opposing Michigan House Bills 4729, 4730, 4731, and 4732, received on June 14th. You received an email correspondence from Sarah Ryan, Private Duty Home Health Care, St. Joseph, Michigan, an email thanking the Board of Commissioners for their support on the auto no-fault insurance received on June 14th. You received 2 emails from Sarah Ryan on June 9th regarding communications with State Representative Paquette on auto no-fault insurance on home care benefits. That's all.
Thank you. Is this a good time for requisition review?
It is, yeah. The requisition list was sent out yesterday. Does anybody have any questions about anything on the list? Perfect, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before we get to public comments regarding resolutions, you should have in front of you a copy of C2206294, signed by 4 of the 5 members of the Committee on Committees, the 5th member being Finance Chair Yarborough, who is currently on her way to Memphis, I think. For this to be dealt with today, we need to amend the agenda. Amending the agenda from the board floor, as you know, can be done on a vote 2/3 majority or greater. Is there a motion to amend the agenda to add the resolution ending in 6294?
So moved.
Moved by Harrison, supported by Scott. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Curran,
Yes.
Freeling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ballraff,
Yes.
Werfel,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, you have 10
you.
yeas.
that resolution is now added to the agenda. My understanding is copies were out front. With that in mind, public comments about resolutions on the agenda, including the added resolution ending in 294. Okay, no public comments. We will move to the consent calendar. I don't believe as a matter of procedure, we can add 294 to the consent calendar. It will need to be read aloud. So is there a motion to approve the list of resolutions as part of a consent calendar excluding 294?
So moved.
Moved by Freeling, supported by Martin. Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Freeling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ballraff,
Yes.
Werfel.
Yes.
Yeah, Al,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Elliot.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas.
thank you. And Madam Clerk, I was remiss in mentioning the added resolution ending in 130 was intended to be part of the consent calendar, but let me confirm with the folks who moved and supported that they also intended to include 130 as part of the consent calendar. So,
Mr. Chair, that was my intention when I made that motion, that resolution would be included.
and was that your intention in seconding the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
With
so,
the added resolution.
Correct.
But not the new.
Not the
Correct.
new one
Okay,
that's going to
all right,
need to
so
be
that-
read.
You're going to read it in first.
yeah, so
Okay.
the consent
Gotcha.
calendar included everything as well as the added resolution about the mileage reimbursement.
Gotcha.
Now, I'll read 294 into the record, and then if someone wants to move and support its adoption, we will pass it. To the Honorable Board of Commissioners of Berrien County, Michigan, your county committee on committees respectfully recommends the adoption of the following resolution. Whereas on June 1, 2022, the Michigan Supreme Court ordered that Juneteenth, June 19, would be observed by all state courts as a paid holiday, and this year will be observed on Monday, June 20, 2022. And whereas this is an additional, excuse me, get choked up talking about it, an additional holiday. Oh, why I've got a tickle in my throat. Above what was identified in County Policy ADM 4020. And whereas, as designed, this would provide an additional holiday only, thank you very much, only for court employees in Berrien County. And whereas adding this as a holiday for only court employees places additional burden on all other county staff. And whereas in a time when Berrien County is trying to attract and retain workers to fill vacancies across the board, providing an additional holiday only for a specific group of employees would hinder that effort. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Berrien County Board of Commissioners authorizes that June 20, 2022 will be a paid day off for all county employees. Be it further resolved that at this time, the paid day off will only be recognized for all county staff this year, while staff looks at all the pieces and parts involved with the consideration of it in the future. Respectfully submitted and signed by Commissioners Harrison, Elliott, Freeling, and Curran. Is there a motion for its adoption?
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Moved by Curran, supported by Bell. Any discussion? Ma'am.
I have a question on that final, be it further resolved in what will the parts and pieces be for that consideration for this to be in the future, given that this is not a new procedure for changing our policies mid-year on what, and after contracts are negotiated and things like that. And this was an unfunded mandated holiday from the state Supreme Court. Therefore, it puts the burden on to our local taxpayers. So what will that policy be to go through and make this a consideration for the future?
Will have the benefit of time, which the majority of the Supreme Court that voted to do this did not give us. The courts have talked about case backlogs, and have, I think, developed a plan to try to get caught up. This does not promote the success of that plan to address the backlog. And it hits us when we have, I think, half of our 8 collective bargaining agreements done. We have others pending or upcoming. The addition of a paid holiday is something that you would normally have as part of the bargain and exchange process of collective bargaining. And so the idea behind those words in the second further resolved is to be thoughtful and deliberate in this process rather than to be stampeded by a vote of the majority of the Supreme Court. So I don't know if that answers the question, but that's what the rationale is.
Mr. Chair, can I chime in further?
Sure.
One of the discussions that occurred with the committee on committee was authoring a resolution for as early as next week, issuing a position on behalf of the board to be sent to the state of Michigan, expressing concerns about quote unquote unfunded mandates and expressing the desire to have a commitment to clear communication so that in the future, newly created federal holidays are not a surprise being issued by the state Supreme Court. That's something that staff is ready, willing, and able to get prepared and get in front of this board. Yep.
And Julie, I would add, we can, all of us can recognize historic events and can recognize them as holidays. We don't necessarily have to do that and make it a paid day off for people whose salaries are paid by taxpayers. Every year after I became a lawyer, I would get notices of Law Day celebrations by county bar associations, state bar associations. And I think I mentioned during our committee on committee this morning that my recollection of the history of Law Day is it was created as a counter to the May Day celebration by the authoritarian communist states. So we did something in our country to celebrate justice and law. That's not a paid holiday for our people, even though there are events, luncheons, things like that, that the courts and the legal staff and attorneys will celebrate, and the general public. So you can recognize and celebrate something without having one branch of government by issuing an administrative order give people another day off at public expense. So we'll certainly have time now to give that some thought, but in the meantime, our other folks aren't being treated differently by virtue of what a majority of the Michigan Supreme Court did 2 weeks ago.
I would agree. And the only thing I would add to that is that we also have paid holidays that aren't federal holidays.
Correct.
So we do have equity there
Sure.
for all of our employees.
I think Michael and then Ezra.
I was just gonna ask, you, there is money in the budget for this year. No.
So this is one that staff has worked to create a cost estimate on what it costs to shut down for the day. And this is a non-budgeted expense. This is something that in the last 2 weeks has become a reality. It was a surprise for all 83 counties across the state. But can you afford to do this? Yes. Do you have any options as it relates to the court staff? No. They will be off this coming Monday. And just as way of background, out of our courts, roughly 404 employees, 104 of them are non-court employees. So at a minimum, if the board does not approve this resolution, you'll have 104 people working in the courts on Monday without the benefit of having the courts in operation, without the benefit of having the court security on site. It really is a disappointing situation to be in.
And then you have the prosecutor and sheriff, so forth. Yes, sir.
I would give Brian a minute so he can tear his paper off.
Thanks.
You're more than welcome.
I was trying to do it quietly.
All right, now I have a comment. All right, now I have a comment.
That was important.
That was very
This
important.
is tricky.
Yeah. I'm also very, very concerned with the state and their unfunded mandates. And I guess my recommendation, and you're going to review this in the future for next year, but I would like to go on record now and say, I think we as a board should do a full and complete accounting of exactly how much money this is costing the taxpayers to be taken out of the general fund or contingency. And when the resolution is passed, that we send the notice to the state that they owe us for this amount of dollars. We're not going to get paid, but I think it needs to be because this unfunded mandates have been coming more and more and more, and it's starting to get a little ridiculous. And the taxpayers should not have to foot this bill.
Anyone else? As you know, we are the funding unit for the court. The state requires us to fund those things which are mandated functions of the court, state mandated, we must fund. With our court system, I would say roughly 70% is tied to state mandates. By implication, that means roughly 30% is discretionary, our discretion. I believe the holidays that are established by the state constitute a state mandated component of their budget, meaning we must pay for it. If you extend the cost of adding a paid day off, be it called a paid holiday or a day off with pay, to our budget for the whole operation, that costs us $150,000 roughly. Quite candidly, a majority of the Michigan Supreme Court doesn't care how much it costs. Some people are very good at spending other people's money. This is a unfortunate example of something that could have been done responsibly. The holiday could have been recognized without costing the taxpayers literally millions of dollars across the state. But they will still get their checks direct deposited every other week. It doesn't really cost them a penny, and they're among the highest compensated employees in the state. I think it's irresponsible, and shame on them, frankly.
Well, Mac, my point is that I understand the state unfunded mandate of the court system. But what the trickle down effect is that us as the county board then is put in the precarious situation of what do we do with the rest of our county employees? And that's what I'm talking about. By statute, we have to fund those mandates, whether they're unfunded or not.
Sure.
But this is, my point is that they're putting it on us for the rest of the employees that are not in the courts, that are not part of this Supreme Court mandate. That was my point.
Absolutely. And you can honor and recognize historic events, things that constitute a stain on the history of this country. You can do that without spending millions of dollars, without cutting down the productivity of operations that are state funded. And our courts are way behind. COVID's impacted the courts as much or more than any other department. So, and no one had any heads up this was coming. It just was done. So, get off my soapbox. Any other comments, concerns? Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Harrison,
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes?
Walrath,
Yes.
Werfel,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
Freeling,
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas.
thank you. Madam Clerk, will you circulate that resolution to the county clerks around the state?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, board appointments. PHS has recommended that we fill a vacancy for a term that expires on 4/19 of 2027. Was that Joe Wasserman?
Yes.
Okay. And the person that PHS has recommended is Bill Chickering, who used to be our liaison to the Board of Health. And then, so we'll do that one first. Is that your motion, Mr. PHS Chair?
That is, recognizing that we did have two other highly qualified applicants for that position. So there has been some lively discussion about board composition for the health board.
Well, and we can't expand the size of that board, as you know, because we always want talented people in positions like that.
So that would be my motion. to
Okay,
appoint Mr.
so
Chickering.
moved by Harrison,
Wholeheartedly support.
supported by Scott.
Yes.
It's roll call not needed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, Bill is appointed effective immediately to the Board of Health. The next one is my call. Don Meeks is not on the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission anymore. He was our board liaison, appointing Julie to fill that spot through the end of this calendar year, and that's effective immediately. So if I can find my agenda. Okay. So now we come to committee reports. Who wants to report on finance? Terry?
Here's the short straw. No, thank you very much. We had a finance committee. It was myself and Commissioner Scott. We accepted the minutes where we reviewed the resolution that was in consent agenda today on the weekly bills. Also the resolution addressing the federal change on mileage reimbursement from 58.5 cents to 62.5 cents. That was also on our consent agenda for consideration for the full board today. We also had Doug Jameson from Financial Services. He gave us a brief overview on monthly update, and it was brief with regards to that portion because he has been working feverishly on the county's audit to be able to get that wrapped up, to be able to file it. Go ahead. All right. There was a request to the committee, and we agreed to approve for them to go out to file for a 30-day extension for the audit. And part of that is just because of some extended medical leave matters that made it difficult for us to finish up some of the details that were needed. He also briefed us on the fact that financial staff has been working with our buildings and grounds staff because we have a long serving member out there, employee that will be retiring. And so we wanted to do some knowledge transfer and onboarding to look at different opportunities in policy, how it marries with our financial service software, to gain those synergies. And then lastly, Doug did state that he will be coming to finance and also the full board for an amendment to the 2022 general budget as it relates to contingency costs. We've had a number of different things that have come before the board that have been pulled from contingency, and based on timing, he would feel more comfortable that we amend that. So that will be later action coming to the full board. And that is my report, unless I've missed something.
Very thorough.
Thank you.
Very.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Glad I could help this morning.
I appreciate that.
Mr. PHS Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met this morning, considered 2 advanced step hire requests from the trial court, and we approved those. We also talked a bit about the Lighthouse condo project that you acted on earlier today. We had an update from Jill Adams regarding parks and some of the issues that they're dealing with, and as well as some of the expansion plans under development. Commissioner Bell will talk a bit about a contract that was recommended to us for approval by Lex Winans from GIS. So take it away, Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lex Winans from GIS came in to propose a contract with the state, with the MISAL, which stands for Michigan Statewide Authoritative Imagery and LiDAR Program. And so his proposal is that we go into contract to exchange data, which will be exchanging data on tax parcels, address points, and center lines. And we're already giving 911 our center lines and address points data. So really the county's net cost will be the tax parcels. And so he proposed that we get into this contract. Berrien is actually one of the only counties in the state that is not a part of MISAL. So we were going to become part of them prior to COVID, but then COVID happened and it kind of set us back. But his proposal that we get into this, and also the county would then in return receive access to the 2023 aerial photography with a 6-inch resolution. And so that is a good deal for the county. And this data will be available for purchase for the public, as well as for the state agencies to receive some of that data from us as well. And he prefers that we back up that data on a physical hard drive. So yeah, that is what Lex came in to propose we get into contract for.
So that contract will come in next week. And then the last item, we had an update from our administrator about several department head vacancies. And so that would conclude our report.
Okay, questions for PHS? Mr. Admin Chair.
Thank you, Matt. We met this morning and Sheriff Bailey was in to see us, and Commissioner Werfel would like to report out on that.
You were late, so you didn't have to report. As Commissioner Curran said, that Sheriff Bailey was there. He gave us an update. First Lieutenant Jeff Duffield is retiring. And he will be missed. They gave us an update on the car show that's happening this weekend over on Maiden Lane in St. Joe Township. So I do encourage you all to be there. It's the former Lane Automotive Car Show, and St. Joe Township is sponsoring that, and then Royalton Township, also in my district, I'm kind of diverging a little bit here, Jim, sorry, is going to do a pancake breakfast. So please go out. But to the sheriff's point on it, Lincoln will be turned into a one-way street that morning. So plan on only being able to drive south on Lincoln that day. So know that that's going on, but they've got quite a bit of police coverage set for that. They're also working on the Red Bud prep for both the July event and the October event. The October event is the international event, so that will be bigger than the July event, which is always large. He did say that, he went over the monthly report, which should be in everybody's email. You should have received that this week. And a couple of the highlights from that, Benton Harbor, City and Township and Niles continue to be very busy. And they continue to work with the state police on that coverage so that there's not a lot of overlap, but that there is coverage within. The sheriff attended the sheriff's conference recently. They had a lot of great speakers and there was a lot of focus on mental health of the officers at that conference. He then pointed out in the pictures you'll see at the end of the report that Todd Rainey believes that the sheriff's department does is have donuts. So, and then he turned the meeting over to Todd. Am I reporting on that also?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so, and then Todd reported out on the motor pool. And he mentioned that they are not only short-staffed, the fuel budget is gone and parts are hard to find. So he has one opening. So if anyone knows of a mechanic looking for work, he does have an opening. He also reported out that the 2023 cars that have been ordered, he is expecting to hear something probably, so finance group, probably in late 22 that the cars are in and we'll need to make provisions to receive those early or to turn them down, which of course we don't want to do. And that was a conclusion that everyone in admin came to. So that's our recommendation, but that is my report.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate that.
Question?
Sure.
On the vehicles, were these, maybe you know, maybe you don't, were these the vehicles that we pre-ordered to get in the queue? All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, next time we get together, we will have some resolutions for you. One is ending in 6125. This is for the MPSC, the radio system. Since we put in the tower at Waterville, and because we are expanding our system to make it interoperable and multicasting, the MPSC is giving us a credit of $31,885 and also to set off the added expense for expanding the system. So we signed that resolution. Resolution ending in 6293. This is to amend an agreement between the drug court and the Michigan Drug Court and our trial court. It's the state is recommending reallocating 5,000 from contract number 25351 for an amended grant award total of 35,000. So in other words, it was a $40,000 grant. They're reducing it to 35,000. And in this resolution, it says that has no impact on the 2023 funding whatsoever. We have another resolution for you, 6289. This is the Sheriff's Department. We do this every year. We apply for the DNR grant fund for snowmobiles. So this is, we're applying in the amount of $8,627. This is to be reimbursed in 85% by the Department of Natural Resources and requiring a county match of 15%, which is $1,294 for the grant period October 1 of 2022 through April 30th of 2023. So that's to apply for the snowmobile grant to the DNR. We signed two other resolutions that I believe everyone else did as well. The Lest We Forget resolution and the resolution recognizing Ron Bush for his years of service. Lastly, we approved a property use request. This is from the Krazel Art Center to use the courthouse parking lot July 9th, which is a Saturday, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and July 10th, which is a Sunday, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We approved that request. That's our report.
Questions for admin? Okay, we'll go to commissioner reports, starting with Terry and go around the horseshoe.
So last week I attended the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. Do you have your notes on that, or you want me to report out on
Go
it?
ahead and I'll fill in anything.
Okay, perfect. We just get an update. Interesting enough, we have 8 projects for Brownfield that we're working through. One of them's a new project that's going to be out on Lemon Creek Road in Lake Township. It's really early in the stages, but Dan gave us a little bit of update. Some of the other ones that we have in the queue and being worked on are the Jimmy John's that's there in Benton Township. It's virtually done, and so we will start to see some capture on that in 2023. The Speedway was approved in Sodus Township for demo, and it's going to start in August. And then I'm going to let you, Mike, report on the rest of the items if you want. Or, yeah, and that is pretty much my report for this week. Thank you.
No report.
I attended the Ben Harbor Peace Day event along with Commissioner Jim Martin, and that's my report.
I have no report.
No report. No report. He gave my report.
Michael.
Well, I attended the Nats meeting. Oh, thank you. And there's no hiccups. All projects are going well this summer, except for Gumwood and Redfield, where they're gonna try to put a roundabout in, and there is one of the homeowners is not moving forward with the sale, so it's kind of in limbo. I don't know how long that's gonna be, or it's never gonna happen, or they'll redesign it somehow. Then I attended the Berrien County Mental Health Authority, which is Riverwood, last night, and we got a presentation from My Journey, which is MI stands for MI, Michigan Journey. Great name. And one of the participants or customers came in and gave us the story about her life and how she's been there and how she goes through lessons there, and they do field trips and they teach her how to survive. Though she does not have a job yet or have an apartment, she is that her main goal, to live on her own. And My Journey helped her get through high school and get a GD. Then the next person was from the ACT team, which is the Assertive Community Treatment Program. And this was a person that was court ordered that he was reason of insanity, whatever his actions were. We never got into that. He was put into 5-year program, and he's completing up his 5th years. He's doing great. His next goal is to go out and get a job, and with medication and the counseling, he is moving forward with his life. He looked great and everything. I wouldn't expect him to have been in that position, but I guess he was pretty bad 5 years ago. Let's see, the next thing is just basically with Randy Hearns, one of the, I don't want to say founding, but he's been on the board for 30 years. He's retiring this month and moving up to Muskegon. And so we're going to have a placement, someone to fill him. And also with Don Meeks leaving, you're going to, I don't know if you're going to pre-position him, but he's gone also. And I mean, there's enough people there, but just something to look in the future to replace those two. And also with Brownfield, Larry Klett has left also on the boards. We'll have to replace him. And Don is also not there anymore. So there's 2 there, and that one is kind of a small group, the 3 of us now. So we could use some people.
Clint was a citizen representative, I
Yes,
think.
yep,
I think Randy Hearns was also on the Riverwood Board, a citizen rep.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I remember when he went on. It was shortly after we converted that to an authority.
yes. And he's been the backbone knowledge wise, like
Yeah.
you are. And to lose him, we're gonna just start fumbling around.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty well set up group, and they know what they're doing, but he's gonna be short of this.
one other question before I open it up. The roundabout, would that have been Redfield and Ironwood, or is that where they're contemplating it, or?
No, it's Gumwood and
Gumwood,
Redfield there when you come off of
gotcha, gotcha.
12.
Where it jogs over, so it
Yep.
would be at the eastern point where Gumwood
Yep.
meets Redfield.
Yeah, and they've done a lot of the work. I mean, power lines, and I think they did sewer already. And all of a sudden it just stopped. And so they're waiting. There's been quite a few accidents in that spot.
Yes, it's a
And,
bad area.
and I just noticed Monday, somebody ran through the stop sign and ran up and down in the gully over the weekend. And I'm like, I almost got out and looked, see if they were still down there. But I looked as I drove by, but I didn't see anything.
Okay, sorry, did you have anything else?
Nope, I don't have anything else. That's pretty much it, I think.
No report.
Okay, Ryan, do you have anything?
No, sir.
All right, we're now at the point of where we receive general public comments. State your name and where you're from if you want to share anything with us. Yes, sir. Izzy?
Izzy, do you mind if I go first?
No, I don't mind at all.
Thank you, thank you.
Sure, go ahead.
Annette Christie, Keeler Township, and my time card will reflect 15 minutes of vacation for this. I recognize the position that you are all in, and I know it wasn't because of me, but I asked you publicly, so I publicly want to thank you for what you did. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's all yours.
Good morning, I'm Misty. I had an appointment here, so I thought, why not stop in? You guys do a great job, okay? I'm totally pleased with everything you do. Road department, they're doing well. So I'm glad we switched over 3-4 years ago. Dave comes to all our meetings, which we appreciate that. So keep up the good work. No complaints. Good job. Maybe see some of you Monday night at the fundraiser. Thanks.
Thank you, Izzy.
Have a good day.
You too. Yes, sir.
He's at our meeting every month. He's there.
We got 3 people here from Hager, you know, you guys better watch out. Okay, Pelzer from Hager.
Peter, I hope Peter doesn't keep you guys too busy. And I am the supervisor, but I do report to Peter, so I can't. See you, Sheriff.
Okay, I got a couple comments to make. One of the reasons I'm here today because they canceled the meeting at the senior center. We have an executive board meeting the 3rd Thursday of the month. I got a call from somebody. I must be important out there. I'm one of the few people that attend the meetings. He called me and said didn't have a quorum, so that's why I'm here. Yeah. Second thing, I went to the car show at the airport Sunday, I think from 10 to 2. That's put on by Lest We Forget. So if you have an old wreck, you know, I want to make sure it drives. Bring it on out there, okay? And the third thing I want to mention is, I think you mentioned something about May Day. If I remember right, when I was in the old country, a lot of European countries celebrate that day too. Over here, we call it Labor Day. I know the communists, they make a big deal out of it. They have a parade, all that. But a lot of that is kind of gone. But I think most of the European countries, they have a Labor Day, just like we do. We call it Labor Day. They call it May Day. And the last thing I want to talk about is, I heard you say some people like to spend other people's money. And you probably heard me laugh. If that ain't the truth, And those people are called politicians. Look at Washington. It's not enough that they steal or spend all the money. They got to go out and borrow some more from somebody else, see? That's why that's the den of thieves. That's what I call it. They got lobbyists up there. They're passing around money left and right. And it's really too bad. What they need to do is let it happen. This is my plan. Have a balanced budget and stick with it. Maybe try to need a strong man in there to enforce it for a while. Thank you.
2 minutes.
Anyone else wish to be heard? All right, we'll close public comments and go to other business. Anyone have any other business? I have a couple things. We received an email forwarded by the sheriff Tuesday announcing the passing of Carol Stockman, former county treasurer. And in the email, it mentioned the work that she has done to assist families that are combating addiction by family members. I believe she lost a grandson 7 or 8 years ago. So there are no arrangements yet that have been made, but I'm sure we'll find out when they are, and we'll share that with the board. The other, yes. The other thing, yesterday I received a call from the court indicating that a sentencing had been done on the case involving the theft of life rings at Silver Beach. As you know, those life rings are wired so that when they're removed, dispatch is notified immediately. We have cameras that are activated, which means if you're going to do that, you should know that you're going to get caught. This individual was caught. The court file number is 2022-001710. The defendant is a young man named Daniel Nacci, Nacci, from Edwardsburg. He was ordered to pay restitution. Parks Department was very helpful in getting that information to the court for sentencing purposes. Restitution, I believe, is north of $1,100 for the theft of those life rings. He spent 5 days in the sheriff's hotel as part of his sentence.
In the restaurant.
Yes. And in addition to the jail sentence, I believe, has been ordered to perform community service. So if the Herald Palladium has column inches to spare and wishes to include something about this, in part as a public service to let people know they steal the life rings, they're going to be prosecuted and they're going to go to jail. Anyone have any other business?
Just a follow-up to that. I've noted to the board chair, Sheriff's Department, Sheriff's Office provides labor to assist with law enforcement at Silver Beach. Last week, the sheriff arranged a meeting where we sat with the St. Joe Police Department. Everybody knows that we're facing a labor issue, and the sheriff has been incredibly impacted by just reduced numbers of deputies being available. So we're trying to thread the needle on when to have the deputies down there. St. Joe PD came in and met with us and agreed. We will be reimbursing them at their rate, but we will have additional support for having a badge on the beach so that as we get into these peak days, it'll be a blend between the sheriff's deputies and the St. Joe Police Department. If you were wondering, is this a great partnership? Don't wonder. This is a really good thing. And I thank the sheriff and Jill for putting it together.
Thank you. Sheriff, did you have anything to add about that?
I wish we didn't
beach, so many police officers down there, but we gotta have them in the evening hours, to message out that if you're gonna come and cause problems, we're gonna be dealt with, but 99% of the time, it's wonderful down at Silver Beach. It's just every now and then we have some people that come that want to cause problems. We also have a zero tolerance on alcohol. So if you bring alcohol to the beach and get caught by a deputy or the St. Joe City officer that is sworn in as a deputy also, you will be issued a county ticket and you can see over the years how many we've written, which is mind-boggling to me that we have so many signs of that drinking is that important that they got to bring it to the beach. So because alcohol, if it goes undetected, it causes problems after hours, and that's what we can't tolerate down there. So it's still a great place to come. You know, it's packed all the time, but now we'll be able to have, 3 to 4 officers down there making sure people are following the rules. Like I said, 99.9% of the people follow the rules. We're down there to deal with that little fraction that comes down there. So it's a great place. We're very, very lucky to have such a wonderful beach.
Indeed. Terry?
I was remiss in the conversation of Silver Beach, jogged my memory. I received a note from Karen Klug, the executive director for the Berrien County Youth Fair. She had stated that the beach cleaner that we were able to arrange for them to use to clean up one of the arenas for small rocks works great. So she wanted to pass on your thanks. It's going to help them. They have a horse show that's returning back to the Berrien County Youth Fair, and it is a great benefit to the community as it relates to having traffic there and just something happening there at the youth fair. So the only other thing I wanted to state too, there's a BC BIT meeting at 12:30 today in the Auto Grow.
Okay. Karen, say anything about those electric voice speakers or no?
No.
No?
No EV,
No.
All right.
no EV updates.
Discussion.
Anyone have anything else? Oh, I do not, but that is the file number if anyone wants to pull it, and that is a matter of public record. Otherwise, I would not have stated the name of the individual who pled guilty. I give him credit for pleading guilty. But of course, being on video makes it kind of difficult to not accept responsibility, and I'm sure he'll be better for it. Anything else? Reminder that 2 weeks from today, we won't have a 8:35 meeting. We will just have the 10:30 meeting focused on retired and no longer with us Sheriff Jewell. But next week, business as usual.
Actually, if I could just add in, you're talking about the light rates, we check them every day. So if one is stolen or missing, we replace them that next day.
Right.
So they're always being monitored.
And Sheriff and I talked the other day and I forgot, but I will call her, Paul, as soon as we're done. I will touch base with Jeanette Leahy about the event 2 weeks from today, honoring Sheriff Jewell, because Jeanette worked diligently and tirelessly with Nick 41 years ago, to make us one of the first counties in the area to have a 911 emergency dispatch system. And in fact, that's how I got to know Nick and Jeanette, because I was working that summer for a law firm called Ryan McQuillan, Vander Plug and Fetty, Tom Fetty. And so I had a ton of paperwork to do because they were pulling all that together. But Jeanette will have good memories to share about Nick, I'm sure. So, all right, if there's nothing else, we're adjourned to Thursday next at 8:35.